The Las Vegas Raiders reportedly plagued by what the New York Times calls financial disorder. A lengthy article that landed over the weekend that frankly, all due respect to our friends at the New York Times, I kept looking for something that wasn't there. I was waiting for bombshell. I've come to expect when the New York Times shows up and starts digging into the nooks and crannies of a controversy, there's going to be something there that makes me say, holy crap. And there just wasn't. There just wasn't. I wanted to know. When I saw that headline, I'm thinking, oh, we're going to find out what Dan Ventrella, or Ventrelli, depending upon which of the hosts on this program is speaking, was complaining about. What got him fired? What complaints? What allegations of misconduct did he pass along? I really thought they were going to hit the mother load. They advanced the ball, but not really all that much. The idea that the organization financially is run like it's in the Stone Ages, that they overpay taxes, that they if anybody has any problem with anything, they just buy them out and move on. They don't want any issues. They don't want any problems. They're just kind of mismanaging the money as a general proposition. That was the gist of the story in the New York Times. Again, it's fine, perfectly fine, but when you have a history of bombshells, when you give us one that's kind of a dud, I'm not going to sit here and say, hey, there's another bombshell, great job. It's like, it's kind of falls short of your standard. The New York Times report on the Raiders, in my estimation, falls short of the standard they've set in other contexts, Chris.
Yeah, I hear you there. You're right. There's not a lot of depth to it. I think it's become such a big topic, though. These NFL teams, are they handling themselves the right way? The Commanders, the Cowboys who got a free pass. Now we're going to go on to the Raiders and deal with that. Right, I just think there's interest in it right now to where, yeah, it seems a little light, but I mean it's one that you classify under like no crap. I mean everybody knows. I mean I don't think this is like a shocking revelation here. I think everyone has thought that the Raiders have some financial issues. Part of the reason they went to Vegas, and you hear those rumors really over the last few years, whether it has to do with player contracts, having the guaranteed cash and money to pay players up front. So I'm not shocked from that standpoint. This is one of those, though, I do classify under, like, is this the tip of the iceberg a little? I don't want to go apples to apples, but it just seems like, slowly but surely here, things are being pulled away from the Raiders to where you start to go, damn, is this about to go down like Dan Snyder, Washington Commander, highway here? Like, are we about to go that way here with the Raiders? Are we going to find out that there's a lot of issues? I guess that's what I'm a little scared about for their sake.
But we're still not at the point yet where a clear, bright line has been crossed.
Right.
We don't know what Dan Ventrella or Ventrelli has passed along by way of complaints that were made to him regarding alleged misconduct of Mark Davis. Obviously, that could become a thing, a real thing. And one of the realities here, and it's always delicate to talk about issues like this, but this has been lingering for years now. I've heard about this multiple times. When Al Davis passed, his widow, Carol, assumed the equity of the team. Unless they have engaged in the kind of high-level and detailed estate planning that this report from the New York Times would suggest that maybe they aren't as buttoned up there. If they're not buttoned up with their basic day-to-day financial realities of running an NFL franchise, they may not have engaged in the estate planning necessary to ensure that when Mark inherits whatever Al and Carol own, he's going to be able to pay the estate taxes. Because as the values of these teams continue to mushroom, you're going to have to come up with a big check for Uncle Sam. We talked about that last week, Chris, the estate tax obligation. And that could be the thing that forces Mark Davis to sell. And another thing that came up over the weekend, the folks at the St. Louis Post-Dispatch doggedly pursuing documents the NFL would rather we not see from the litigation filed by St. Louis against the league following the relocation of the Rams. Many great revelations in there, which just prove that they were lying their asses off to St. Louis and the rest of us. What a shock. When Stan Kroenke bought the property that became SoFi Stadium. Lies, lies, and more lies. Straight-faced, bald-faced, every kind of faced lie from Stan Kroenke and Roger Goodell and Kevin Demoff. Just amazing stuff, but really not surprising for anybody who pays attention. I'll probably get fired during this segment for saying that, but it's true. I'm telling the truth about all those lies. The other aspect of it that I thought was very compelling, at one point, they were contemplating moving the Raiders to St. Louis with a reorganized ownership. And you just kind of have the feeling, and I've had this feeling ever since Mark Davis took over the team, that the other owners would just as soon be done with him. But they don't know how to make it happen. They don't know how to make it work. And if there are these issues in the organization, if there are any lines that were crossed, they're not going to give him a break. They're going to welcome the opportunity to shed him and to have someone in a much better position to capitalize on the Las Vegas market, in their estimation, swoop in and take over that team. I just feel like it's a matter of time before they make a move on Mark Davis.
I mean, I hear you there. I don't think that's like a crazy thought. I think I could probably share some of that sentiment as well, as far as having that feeling. The St. Louis thing, just to feel like, hey, the NFL, I feel like has, been trying to figure the Raiders out to a degree, or help them out, or wish they were a little bit better, wish the stadium thing got figured out in Oakland. It just feels like it was going on forever, to where I can understand the NFL going, man, I wish, things were just run a little bit better there, or something, was a little smoother with the way they do business. I get that. I just feel like we kind of been like hearing those type of rumors for a long, long time. But, again, I don't know where it goes. And with Mark Davis, you're right. The big thing is just going to be, can they continue to keep that in the family and pay that estate tax? That'll be interesting to see as we go to the future here.
And as to the Rams, real quickly, because people may be wondering, well, why would they lie about the intention of Stan Kroenke to convert property he purchased in late 2013 in Inglewood into a stadium? Why would he lie about that? Well, and this quote is contained in one of the documents that was uncovered by the St. Louis Post-Dispatch. The Rams didn't want the fan base in St. Louis to crater. They wanted people to show up and support the team even when they knew they were moving the team. 2014, 2015, 2014 especially, when no one had any idea, if they weren't paying attention, the Rams are thinking about leaving, especially since they're lying about why Stan Kroenke bought that land. They want people to renew their season tickets. They want people to show up and spend their money. They want people to think the Rams are going to be there. That's why they lied about it. It's shameful, but again, I'm not surprised by it. And one last thing, former Rams fans in St. Louis, if you're looking for a team to root for, I give you the Cincinnati Bengals, because Mike Brown was the only person who was consistently saying we should not screw these fan bases over. Not in those words, but that was his message. Why are we not supporting these areas that have supported us all these years? And, of course, Mike Brown was ignored. But folks in St. Louis should not ignore Mike Brown and the Bengals. That would be enough for me. If I was a citizen of a team that felt screwed over by an NFL franchise and I knew Mike Brown was the only one going to bat, to try it also helps that his team's pretty good right now, I would be a Bengals fan immediately, Chris.
Yeah. I mean, it definitely would be easy to bring you over there because of that. St. Louis, I would think, like, Mike, when you talk so much about the league going to 34 or 36 teams, I would think that's going to be one of the cities that gets a team. You don't think so? You say no to that?
Not after they took the NFL for $800 million. Not after, the NFL, like they always do. There's a level of confidence that borders on delusion, that borders on arrogance, that borders on hubris, that we're going to win. We will crush you in court. First step, arbitration. We know that playbook by now. Now, at least with St. Louis, it wasn't secret rigged kangaroo court, but it was still, they were trying to make the argument that it should go to arbitration. That was like 5 years of the lawsuit was trying to force it to arbitration. They went all the way to the U.S. Supreme Court to try to force it into arbitration. They lost. That's when the wheels started to come off for the NFL. And at the end of the day, this case that they thought was without merit, they ended up paying almost $800 million. So I was told in the aftermath of the settlement, there's no way the NFL is doing business with St. Louis in the future.
Wow.
Now,
right.
Passage of time, look, right after you commit to paying $800 million when you thought you shouldn't pay anything, you may be speaking a little emotionally, but it's going to take some time. And it's going to take some changes in leadership. You're going to need new commissioner, new owners for some of the key teams that would be maybe holding a grudge.
You're right there, right.
But it's going to take some time. But it's going to take some time to expand. Maybe when they put on the last two, to go from 38 to 40, maybe that's when St. Louis is back in the mix.
Yeah, maybe. I would think it's still, to like Mike Brown's point, it's still a big-time city. It's a great sports town. We saw an NFL team win a Super Bowl, being a part of that city. They need their own franchise, though, not a team that gets moved there or something like that. Something that truly is a startup, identifies with St. Louis, and go from there. I mean, I think they're worthy of that whenever the NFL does, expand to that point.
Before he was shouted down by Jerry Jones, Cardinals owner Michael Bidwell, and I remember his team once moved out of St. Louis back in the late 80s, he pushed back against letting Stan Kroenke move the team because he said, if we do this, they will think we're all about the Benjamins. Michael, we already do. We already think that. I mean, come on. It's okay. It's capitalism, baby. Go make as much as you can while you can, but don't complain when the players try to do the same thing.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.